Okay, so I wanted to do a little explanation of this question. So in the previous slide, I'd ask you to take a look at this equation here, x minus 2 equals negative 4. And I asked you to think about which tiles you would remove from each side of the scale to be able to show the solution to the equation, where you have the x tile isolated all by itself with no other tiles beside it. Hopefully you were able to figure out that you needed to remove two -1 tiles or two red tiles from each side to keep the equation in balance and to be able to model x equals -2. And if you substitute -2 back in for x, that kind of makes sense. If you start with -2, you take away 2 more, you would end up with -4. There's other ways that we can think about this question, including representing it using just numbers or mathematically. So that is modeled down here. And then I've also I've added another way to think about the balance model to be able to solve equations. So let's take a look at the numbers first, and you'll notice what I've done. So I work down the page. That's really important. Get my pointer here. And then you'll see that what I've actually done here, instead of subtracting -2 on each side, which is basically what you did here, I added 2, which is the same thing. Subtracting negative is the same as adding positive. It just shows that you are doing basically the opposite so that these cancel out and you're left with just x. And we know that to keep an equation balanced, we have to do the same thing to both sides. So that's why I have this +2 on both sides modeled here. And then I've just simplified the equations. X minus 2 plus 2 is just x. And then -4 plus 2 is -2. So I ended up with the same answer. If you take a look over here, I modeled this with the idea of adding 2 positive to each side to keep the equation in balance. And this relates back to our work with integer tiles with 0 pairs, where we had yellow and red tiles. When you have the same number of yellow and red, this +1 -1, they cancel each other out and they equal 0. So you're basically adding in 0 pairs here to get rid of the extra plus or minus on this side of the balance scale. You're left with just x. And then you've done the same on this side too. These cancel out, and you're left with an excess of -2 tiles. Hopefully that helps a little bit.